Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. Hope you're all having a great day. Today, we have some racing here in the Truck Series, Xfinity Series, as well as the Cup Series. Las Vegas on the Cup Series side of things today in this Roush LeBron Racing number 6 Ford Mustang. But in the Trucks and Xfinity Series, we have it racing at Atlanta Motor Speedway, where we got underway for the Truck Series here in Atlanta, where we had a community member of Dave Cates behind the wheel of our truck. And it was a typical Atlanta Motor Speedway weekend in the first two series here now, as it was just blowouts. Race 1 with the trucks with our going racing Ford Tundra, and then in the Xfinity Series you could expect probably the same thing, even with Daniel Suarez behind the wheel and only his third or fourth race coming back to the Xfinity Series. But there wasn't much to show because Dave Cates ran away with the victory in this race. We cut straight through to the final lap here through 3 and 4. You see the lead he had over second place. It was huge now as it came through out of turns 4 down the front straightaway. For the first time this season, Going Racing goes to victory lane at an expected place to win for our team in Atlanta Motor Speedway. So there you see the finishing order on the screen now, as we are officially going to be locked into the Truck Series playoffs, as well as we look to get a win, like I said, in the Xfinity Series with Daniel Suarez behind the wheel. So we qualified second in trucks, took the lead right off the bat, and it would actually be very similar with the qualifying effort here in Xfinity. Suarez qualified second side by side with the 98 of Kimi Räikkönen, but by the time they got down into turns 1, Suarez, once again, just like Dave Cates in the Truck Series, had taken the lead into turn 1. So you can just see the difference between our Going Racing Ford Mustang and the competition. Suarez already had like a half a second lead on the exit of turns 2, and exactly like the truck race, he took the lead. He did not look back. We're going to cut straight through again to the final lap of this race here in Atlanta through turns 3, out of turns 4. Daniel Suarez dominated in Atlanta for the first time this season. Daniel Suarez and Going Racing go to victory lane here with Ford now, as we're going to check out the finishing order here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. So Räikkönen still finished pretty well up there in second place there. David Starr rounded out the top 20, and rounding out the field in general would be CJ McLaughlin in the number 93. So now we focus on the Cup Series race here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where we actually had to hitch a ride with our teammate of Christopher Bell's hauler heading to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is done on American Truck Simulator, by the way. Went from California all the way to Las Vegas to see the beautiful sights here as we would eventually pull in and get ready to go here in Las Vegas. A beautiful area once again in the United States now, as you would get on track and ready to make our qualifying effort here with these new upgrades. Not sure exactly what to expect on a mile and a half. Of course, we went to Auto Club recently where we ran pretty decent considering the situation, and I felt like we were good enough maybe to get a top 15 here today, maybe even fight for the back half of the top 10. We'll qualify with a 31.552 and qualifying P21 for the Pennzoil 400. So not the best qualifying effort in the world, but definitely not the worst qualifying effort in the world, to say the least here, as we're going to check out the rest of your qualifying order heading into this Pennzoil 400. At the very bottom of the grid, you got Alex Bowman in the 48. Very surprising there, even though Gordon Hendricks bit off this season. Still surprising to see Bowman that far down in the order now. As we look up towards that top 20, Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch right at the bottom part of it. Harrison Burton in 15th. Rounding out the top 10, you got our teammate Christopher Bell, and up on pole, you got Eric Jones from McLaren. Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Look at the beautiful area here surrounding this racetrack. Las Vegas originally started out as a drag strip and a road course that opened in 1972, and then in 1985 the 3/8 of a mile oval opened up, and then in 1996 the 1.5 mile oval opened up, and now hosts many NASCAR events throughout the year here, as we're ready to take the green flag now here on this 20-degree bank turned oval track now, as it's a nice D-shaped oval that produces pretty tremendous racing compared to other mile-and-a-half ovals in the Cup Series, as we're ready to take this green flag here today. William Byron, like I said, will be back next episode, as this will be the third and final race he misses due to injury here, as we look to expect him hopefully put up some good results for Gordon Hendrick when he makes his return.
Nice to see a lot of fans up there in the stands. Let's give them a show, Gary.
Yes, sir. I'll give it everything I got. I don't see why we can't even fight for a top 10 today. Let's have some fun. There you hear myself and Lantion on the radio getting ready to go green for the Pennzoil 400 here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Joey Logano, of course, remembers us, and we might have to watch out for him as usual here today from Las Vegas. Justin Haley doesn't look nearly as fast as expected. I forgot to change his picture, so I will get that corrected as soon as possible. Alex Bowman just doesn't look like himself now as we're ready to take the green flag in this Pepsi Ford Mustang here, right behind the number 18 Joe Gibbs Racing, driver of Kyle Busch in his final season of his NASCAR Cup Series career here as we are underway from his home track in Las Vegas now for our now fifth attempt at hopefully getting a better result from this car, as it's definitely been a interesting start to the season where we went to Daytona at the high banks there at the super speedway and had a very rough day, a miserable day to be honest. Sonoma, of course, recently was really well, and then we had a track like Auto Club that went pretty decent. Homestead Miami went pretty decent as well. So the first four races, it's had its ups and downs, and we've had one top 10 in the first four, so 25% right now of our races this season have been inside the top 10. Hopefully we can up that percentage as the season goes on, but as of right now, when we're on an oval like Las Vegas, anything that's a mile and a half and above, I really think it's going to be a very tough time in the first half of this regular season to get top 10s unless we get some luck with some cautions and maybe some strategy, but we'll have to wait and see what happens here as the season progresses. Let me know in the comments what you guys have thought about this. Honestly, I've been enjoying the struggle. It's something new. It's something we haven't had before. We're really given a challenge where we have to upgrade this car and get ourselves competitive enough to compete for a championship later in the season. Now, as you saw on lap 5, us battling with our rival of Joey Logano. But the fascinating thing is, with it being so tough for us to run well in the early part of the season, it's going to reduce our chances significantly of us getting playoff points. And what's really helped us ride through the playoffs every season is the playoff points that we gathered throughout the regular season. So we aren't going to have as many to lay back on as previous seasons in our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. So I'm really interested to see how tough of a playoff fight it is actually going to be when we get there, and that's assuming we make the playoffs. As of right now, we're outside of the playoffs, so I'm comfortable or confident that we will make it because this car is only going to get better as the season goes on. And the fact that we're only just a little bit below the cut line right now with the car the way it is, I'm very confident we will make this 16-driver playoff grid. But here we are now on lap 9, still battling it out with Ty Gibbs, Eric Jones in the McLaren, Joey Logano there for Penske Racing. He's all the way up at the top. I was trying to be careful around that 22, of course, as usual, to not get ourselves into any unnecessary trouble with him here as we go down into turn 3. And I was surprised that we were running as well as we were. You can see that 13th place and beyond is long gone. Check right out. Lewis Hamilton again leading the way. Lewis Hamilton has been on it on the start of the season. Won the Daytona 500, and he wasn't even the best car in the Daytona 500. You would expect him to have gotten a win somewhere else so far with how strong he was, but so far just a Daytona 500 victory for him, and he will be in the playoffs, of course, and he's running tremendous here now as it's 3 wide with Eric Jones and Logano. There's a little bit of contact, actually, with that number 7 car as we went down into the corner, but we would end up getting passed by Josh Berry, who was on the outside of me there. He would move up in front of me. He would move up in front of Joey Logano as well. He was on the move in general here as he's up to that 14th spot, the best run we've seen so far from Josh Berry. Now in lap 17, you can see how much further ahead he was as we're right to the back of the number 22 of Logano, and now finally everything kind of settled down. We had pulled away from 17th place and back, so now it was just a scrap between myself and Joey in the closing moments of this first and opening stage. Lewis Hamilton had already taken the white flag here as our fuel and tire icon had come on, but look at us, a bit of a slide job on the 22 of Joey Logano. He's going to get right to my back bumper, but I said, you know what, I'm just going to embrace him pushing me down this front straightaway. As long as we just don't get hooked, we'll be fine. So he's going to push us all the way down into turns 1, and look at that, absolutely nothing came out of it, but until he pushes me out of the way, that is. And now we're side by side with the Penske champion from 2018, and now we're going to be beating doors down the back straightaway as we go down towards turn 3. It didn't get too physical. It really wasn't a big deal right there, and that allows Joey to get clear, and then 10th place is across the line, so we get 16th place here in this first and opening stage. So once again, no stage points here from Las Vegas, but we really didn't come into today expecting to pick up stage points. So I definitely wasn't really sure what I wanted to do on the car at this point because it was driving pretty good, but ultimately I was looking at maybe a grill tape adjustment or something like that here, but at this point in time I decided not to make any adjustments as Lewis Hamilton comes through to win the first and opening stage here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Back from Las Vegas for the start of stage 2 as we have a quick little fly through here of downtown Vegas on the strip. It looks beautiful in Microsoft Flight Simulator now, as I mean everything in Microsoft Flight Simulator does look tremendous here, as we lost 2 spots unfortunately on the pit lane due to a bit of a slower pit crew here. Stage 2 is underway, and now here for the start of stage 2 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, it is time to get amped. Honestly, Landion, I think we could maybe think about loosening it up a little bit.
We'll up the pressure a little bit. That should make it better for you.
There you have amped, now in the 20th position at the end of the second completed lap here of stage 2. Derek Kraus finds himself leading the way. He picked up his first win on the season last time out in Auto Club now, and appears to have another fast car here today from Las Vegas as we're putting the fight to the McLaren of Eric Jones. Couldn't quite put enough of a fight to him as he would actually stay ahead of me here as we came through to the 5th lap. So now into turn 3 on lap 6 and move up the inside of him into the corner. I was really desperately trying to complete this pass, and we had an opportunity to do it right there out of turns 4, a bit of a slide up in front of him, and now we would hold on to the 19th position here as we came through to 8 laps to go already in stage 2. Lewis Hamilton once again had found a way to get back out in front and show the speed in that Mercedes now, as our teammate Tyler Reddick was having a bit of a rough day down here in 20th place. He had gotten to the back of me, and I was trying to hold him off to the best of my abilities and what the car allowed me to do with the speed, and we were holding on for the time being here as we went into the corner to see would switch it up a little bit and go to the top. But now with 5 laps to go in stage 2, Reddick to the inside as we go down into turns 1, but the caution actually kind of saves us right there, as that's going to force everybody into the pit lane. Hamilton, Eckes, Kraus, Todd Gilliland up there. I think it was Bubba Wallace as well up inside the top 5. 2311 Racing in general looking pretty strong right now here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Now Kraus picked up the first win of the season for 2311 Racing. Surprising, honestly, to see Bubba not win yet here, as he has been very strong so far, and showing that once again today for 2311 here as we get ready to go green. Now what is going to be a late little scrap in this second stage, and unfortunately we lose one more spot, so Tyler Reddick actually overtakes us on the pit lane. We're down to the outside on that 20th spot here, ready to go green behind our rival of Joey Logano. It's going to be a 2-lap scrap here to decide the stage 2 winner. I got to point out as well, when we got this season going, I knew, of course, our car at the beginning of the season was going to be way down on pace, and I didn't think we were going to have to deal with Joey Logano. I thought we were finally done with him because he was going to be running in front of us the whole time, but I'm pretty convinced at this point it doesn't matter what we do, how good the car is, we're going to just find ourselves surrounded by Joey Logano at every time in the race. It feels like he is around me, so that's a bit annoying having him everywhere I go, so hopefully we can get the car better. It seems like the one time that we don't have a good car, Logano seems to be flopping as well, so we get the white flag underway here in stage 2. Lewis Hamilton still leading the way, but he's on the outside, and that left the door wide open for Derek Kraus to slip up the inside through turns 1 and out of turn 2. Kraus to the lead. We're going to make it 3 wide with John Hunter Nemechek and Joey Logano down this back straightaway here now as we get clear of the 41 down into turn 3. Is Logano going to try and force it up the inside? No, he's not. He's going to stay up top or up the inside of our teammate of Tyler Reddick here, side by side out of turns 4. Derek Kraus down the front straightaway wins stage 2. We're going to cross the line just behind our teammate of Reddick and just ahead of the 22 of Joey Logano for a disappointing 19th place finish. The car did not drive any worse than it did in stage 1. It just felt like the cards didn't quite go in our way here for stage 2, and that's kind of why we had a bit of a rough second stage finish here of P19. So definitely some work to do. No pit stops leading into stage 3, so we will be staying out and getting ready to go back green from the 19 starting position. Now as Alex Bowman is DNF from the race, that was the reason for the caution. He is now 5 laps down and out. What has been a disappointing season for him so far, but Derek Kraus wins stage 2 as we get ready for the start of stage 3 here from Las Vegas. Back from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, ready to take the green flag for potentially the final time here. As you see the drag strip there in the background outside of the oval, as well as that little dirt track now. So much motorsports piled into one small area here in the Las Vegas area as we are ready to go green for the start of stage 3. So on the inside in 19th place, right behind Ty Gibbs, who picked up his first win of his NASCAR Cup Series career recently at Sonoma Raceways. We are underway. It's going to be 25 laps to go here from Vegas. Now as Logano is just trying to turn us as we went down the front straightaway, and in the process messed himself over, as well as multiple other drivers. So that honestly might have been a good thing, though. We get away from him, and if it stays green, he might be able to work his way back forward. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Like I said, though, we can't escape Joey Logano. No matter how good or bad our car is here in the NASCAR Cup Series, he just finds a way to be around us now. He might even be doing it intentionally at this point. Now as we're right to the back of that colleague car of Kaz Grala there in that number 16. Seeing some decent speed out of Kaz Grala so far in the early parts of the season. I don't think it's going to be playoff speed for that team, but if they keep doing what they're doing, they might be at least around that bubble, kind of like where we are right now here as we exit turn 2, getting a nice run down the back straightaway. You can really make the top roll really well on the exit, especially through turns 1, out of turns 2 at Las Vegas, and you can't really make it work as good in turns 3 and 4. That's why you see me go down to the bottom quite often in turns 3 and 4 at this track now, but run the top in turns 1 and 2. Hopefully a NASCAR ignition or NASCAR 21 ignition, we can have a lot more different lines to be run, a lot more variety. I'm hoping that if you want to run the top, you can make it work and not be forced to run the bottom like you are pretty much everywhere else. So I would like to see just more versatility with the lines that we can run here in the NASCAR 21 ignition game. The caution would actually come out for the second time of the day here, and once again Logano is going to be alongside myself on the restart now as you look at that current running order. So we're going to be 19th place again now as Tony Bradinger, I believe, brought out the caution as she is going to be bringing it into the pit lane here with a potential DNF. Not sure if she was actually DNFing or not, but Lewis Hamilton finds himself back out front, and Todd Gilliland joins him on the front row for the restart. Lining up behind our Roush LeBron Racing teammate of Tyler Reddick now. Both of us have been running pretty similar today as we're back underway, and as well our other teammate of Christopher Bell not having the hottest day either. So Roush LeBron in general here with 18 laps to go has been struggling throughout the day here in Las Vegas. I did not mean to take it 3 wide with Reddick, but it was just such a weird restart for him. He definitely did not take off very well, and here we were opening up the door, and Logano, of course, being on my door trying to push me down the track again, just kind of put me in a spot where we were up the inside all of a sudden of the 60 of Tyler Reddick. So now we were up into 17th place after passing the number 16 colleague car of Kaz Grala, moving up into 17th place, and then it kind of flatlined right there for the time being. Lewis Hamilton still leading now on lap 53. Now as Josh Berry into turn 3 blows the right front tire. The caution comes out again from Las Vegas. We did gain 1 spot just before the caution came out there up into P16. Barry will not be out of the race. We come into the pit lane to fill it up with fuel and put some tires on. Just right side tires is all we're going to be doing, and that was a big moment right there for Barry, who's had a really strong performance here today from Las Vegas. So very disappointing for him, as Tony Bradinger did not DNF when she brought out that caution. So now she's going to get to stay out and be at the front of the field. Obviously, she's not going to have a whole lot of speed in that JTG car, as that car should fall down the order pretty quick as we lose 3 spots on the pit lane. So now lining up behind Joey Logano and our teammate Christopher Bell in another weird restart there, as Christopher Bell did not take off at all. So we get in front of him already and back up in 18th place we go with only 11 laps to go in this race. Tony Bradinger leading the way through turns 1 and 2. Kaz Grala's going to jump up to the outside and try to make a pass on myself. Kind of caught me off guard. Didn't really see that one coming, but we fortunately stay ahead of him. Look up the inside of John Hunter Nemechek there into turns 3. He's having a decent run today as I briefly got into the back of the 22 of Logano. Here comes up the inside our teammate of Christopher Bell, who's going to blow the doors right off of me, and we drop right back down to 19th place here as I'm trying so desperately hard to hang on here. The draft for our car at this point in the season is so important to hold on to here as we would get back in front of John Hunter Nemechek, right to the back of that 22 of Joey Logano. Lewis Hamilton leading the way, but he was under pressure actually from the 83 of Christian Eckes in the Red Bull, who's looking to get his first win of the season. The defending Cup Series champion, some contact with Joey Logano through turns 3 and 4. I said, get out of the way, Joey. I push him off the track right there, but he's going to fight back here down the front straightaway, side by side. Some contact through the tri-oval now as he is not giving up whatsoever. I think we've had contact every race so far just about this season, but we clear him into turns. When we slide up in front of him, he's going to give us the bump through turns 2. Gralla up my inside here with 3 wide in the middle all of a sudden with him, as well as Ty Gibbs there in that Monster Energy Toyota Camry. Now as we go down into turns 3, some contact with Gralla. That's going to actually hurt our momentum. That's going to bring Logano back to my inside. He's into the side of us as we exit turns 4, nearly turning the 47 to Bradinger because Logano was pushing me up the track. An unbelievable moment right there as Logano. We just cannot get away from this guy. It is so frustrating at the beginning part of the season. I don't know what the rest of the season is going to be like. That was right there me maybe trying to go into turns 1 and wreck him, but it did not quite become a success. So now we were under attack from the number 2, Logano's teammate of Ryan Preece, as we went down into turn 3. Hamilton still leading the way over the 83 of Eckes, and now we lose a spot to the 2 car of Ryan Preece. So back down into P18 we go. What a weird race it's been for us here today, but now on lap 61 up the inside of Preece, and I was trying too hard to side draft him that I left the door wide open for the 11 of Gibbs to go through. Now we drop down another spot in a 19th place. Then as we came through to lap 64, Gibbs had passed both the 2 and the 22. Now as I go up the inside, as we actually have a crash behind us through turn 3, it's Bradinger who stayed out under that last caution. She goes around in front of the 43, and the 43 is going to go up on his side. Gutierrez goes up and over the 47. A big crash right there, as thank goodness that would not result in an injury this time like William Byron's crash did at Homestead, Miami, but a gnarly crash to say the least here in Las Vegas in the closing laps of this race, as that will force an overtime restart where Lewis Hamilton will have to try and hold off the field as we get ready to go back green. Lewis Hamilton, Derek Kraus, as well as Christian Eckes, the main 3 drivers we're watching to be competitive on this restart for a race victory as we are back underway, lined up right behind that number 22 of Joey Logano. It's actually Eckes leading the way. He did take the lead actually from Lewis Hamilton before the caution. I just did not realize it at that moment. So Lewis Hamilton not leading the way. It's Christian Eckes looking for his first win on the season. A weird check up into turns 1. Unfortunately, I got to the back of the 22. Now I make it aggressive here up the inside of that 22, 3 wide with him, as well as the 41 of John Hunter Nemechek as we go down into turn 3. Logano probably going to run into us right here. I really sailed it into the corner, and he gets into the back of us through the center of turns 3 and 4. Is going to give us a huge push there as we exit turns 4 right in front of that 22. Eckes leads the way as the white flag is out here on the 69th lap of Las Vegas Motor Speedway, down to turns 1 for the final time. Eckes left the door open for the 45 of Derek Kraus, who's going to go up his inside on the exit of turns 2. The 2 Toyota drivers scrapping it out side by side down the back straightaway for the final time here as we try to run down Ryan Preece into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Eckes to the top, Hamilton in the middle, Kraus on the inside, and it's going to be Derek Kraus prevailing as they exit turns 4. He's going to go back to back, get his second win on the season. We don't quite have enough for the 2 of Ryan Preece. We come through to cross the line for a still relatively solid 18th place finish here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the Pennzoil 400. Can't really complain too much about that. We didn't have a great car here today. Unfortunately, no stage points, of course, and just an overall half-decent finish that was. So, Bradinger and Bowman both ended up DNFing from the race now as we see the point standings, of course, before we end this episode. And what's the playoff situation look like for us? That's really the main question. You see trucks going to Homestead Miami Speedway in the next episode, no NASCAR Legend Series, and then Xfinity as well going to Homestead at Miami as we look to get Daniel Suarez his second win of the season and second win in a row. But now we're going to check out that Cup Series playoff grid before we end it. So we got some work, of course, to do, but we are only 12 points below the cut line, so that really wasn't a bad day for us. But we're going to Phoenix in the next one. That's going to be either hit or miss. I really don't know how that one's going to go for us now, because I've struggled at Phoenix in the past, but we've also had some tremendous speed there on the 24 car as well at points in time. So it's going to be interesting to see how our car is at Phoenix. Then we have Gateway, Kansas, Road America coming up. So, of course, looking forward to Road America the most. But before we end it, I just want to say thank you to the Go On Racing members of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Hayes Gaming, Brett Durwood, Darky Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasura, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Dana 9302, Speed Demon 341, Ellis Emery, as well as Jay Fitz. I appreciate you guys' support so much, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.